Bowl champs here, 2 in the Raiders. Panthers haven't won any Super Bowls, neither have the Vikings. Billy hasn't won any with the Dolphins. Jay Shaw with the Browns hasn't won any yet. Seahawks hasn't won any and hasn't won any Super Bowls. We got the defending Super Bowl champ down here in my division, the 3-13 Giants. Let's start with them. So we've basically got 3 Super Bowl winners left in the playoffs, and after this round, potentially 1 is gone for sure, and maybe even more if the Giants lose. So it's good. It's nice to see new faces in the playoffs. So it's going to be really fun to watch. Let's check out this Giants-Seahawks game. Daddy Leagues will even estimate it what it thinks. So Daddy Leagues is saying the Giants are going to win this game, 26-19. I don't know about that. It depends. If the Seahawks are playing on the roads, I think that's the one advantage that the Giants have. And to me, it depends on which Eli Manning shows up. If you watch the Giants play, they live and die by Eli. Some games he can't miss. Some games he can't hit. I'm assuming for the playoffs, Ryan's going to have him ready to go with his game plan. I'm not sure if these guys have played in the season. Let's go check and see if they've actually played this season, the Giants and the Seahawks. Go look at the Giants page. Yep, they've played once before, and the Seahawks took it 16-12. That's amazing. So we're going to be in for a great game. In this last game they played, almost exact stats on passing allowed, rushing allowed. The turnovers, the Seahawks gave up 2 and still won. That's amazing right there. They took away 3 though, so that's the big difference. They won on the turnovers. The big stats guys in this: Eli Manning, interception, no TDs. Russell Wilson, no TDs. So this was a hard fight battle. So we're going to be in for a treat for the divisional round. Can't wait to see that one. I'm thinking my prediction is going to be, I'm going to go against the Daddy Leagues. I got to say, no, I can't do it. I can't go against the NFC Super Bowl champs. I'm thinking Daddy Leagues might be right on this one. Giants by a touchdown. So let's wait and see. I'm picking Giants by a touchdown. The next game is going to be a classic. I hope these guys, I got to make sure I keep an eye on the UFL page real quick. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything if these guys are going live, because I do not want to miss one of these games. Okay, nothing seems to be scheduled yet, so you never know with the Raiders. Those guys play games as fast as anybody. I think he played three playoff games in one day, actually. Amazing. So the Dolphins and the Browns. This is going to be an amazing battle. Let's check and see what Daddy Leagues thinks is going to happen before we dive into look at things. Wow, couldn't be any more closer. Daddy Leagues is picking the Dolphins to win, 26-25. Dolphins will be going to the Browns. That is amazing. Average points scored, 33 points. So they scored more points than the Browns. Average points allowed, though, the Browns defense plays good defense. Man, this is going to be a great game right here. Let's go back and see if these guys have played during the year. 26-25. So Daddy Leagues thinks the Dolphins is going to take it. Let's see if these guys have played during the regular season. I don't think they have, so it's going to make it even more unique. Yep, nope, they haven't played. That is going to be very, very interesting. So let's go back and look at this game. I think Daddy Leagues has it right, though. I think the Dolphins have some momentum going, and his offense has really picked it up. Johnny Manziel scares me. That's the only factor why I don't think Jay Shot's going to get this with the Browns. Maybe one more year, unless he got tons of EXP with it into the season, then maybe I would say the Browns have a shot at winning this. But I do think it's going to be a nail biter. But again, I'm going to go with Billy. I think Billy's going to pull an upset again and shock the UFL. It's going to be interesting. If we see a Billy versus one of the other guys, San Diego or Oakland, that's going to be just insane. Or Jay Shavo versus one of those guys. The AFC is, any one of these 4 guys could win out, so it's gonna be a treat to watch. Let's check out the next game. Panthers at the Vikings. This game is going to be great. The Vikings have a great running attack, great passing attack. Seems like they won just about every NFC award there was to win. If you go look at the awards. Daddy Leagues is picking the Vikings, 28-23. So we're going to see here how that's going to turn out. Another close game, and Daddy Leagues knows it right, because for sure games in the UFL are usually nail-biters. Both averaging about 22, 21 points a game. Let's see if these guys have played. I think they actually have played. Let's take a look at that. There, wow. So the Vikings have already played the Panthers, 17-34. That pretty big matchup at home again. Again, home field advantage matters a lot, and then in the playoffs it really matters a lot. We're talking here. Let's look at this. In their last game, the Panthers just gave up too many passing yards to the Vikings. I'm sure they're trying to focus on stopping Adrian Peterson, and when you do that, you're going to give up tons of rushing yards, 221 yards. But again, turnovers, 5 turnovers. That's one of the spreads so different in the UFL. If you give up 5 turnovers, your chances of winning are pretty low. So I'm betting the Panthers come into the playoffs with a little better game plan, and you don't see quite as many turnovers in the divisional round. Cam Newton, 5 interceptions and 1 TD. So the Vikings, they got a great running back, at 154 yards rushing. But as he's seen here, he's got a pretty decent passing game as well, too. So he gave Corral Patterson had 86 yards, and Adrian Peterson had the backfield 31. So the running game did keep it on the ground. So pretty amazing. I guess the Vikings won it on the ground. So we'll see how that turns out if the Vikings still run it on the ground this game, and usually when you're running it, the turnovers stay low. If you're passing it, the turnovers stay high. But I think the Panthers may have worked on a few things since they played the Vikings. Let's go take a look at that and see who I think is going to win. So the Daddy League thinks the Vikings are going to beat the Panthers again. I think Daddy League has it right this time, so the Vikings with Adrian Peterson in that passing attack. The rookie Teddy Bridgewater, I'm just assuming he got tons of EXP. As we saw with the rookie quarterback from the Raiders, he went from like 71 overall to 99 overall with his EXP. I think he won every award in the AFC, and I think Teddy Bridgewater won every award in the NFC. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one turns out, but I'm going Vikings as well. Then the last matchup, probably one of the greatest matchups again. These guys played so many times. Like I said, Silk's 4-time Super Bowl champ. Raiders are back-to-back champs, and they won it both in season 1s of last year, and they were in season 1 of 2015. So it's going to be interesting to see who Daddy League picks this. So Daddy League is pretty confident the Raiders are going to win by 6, 27-21. That score is probably not too far off, to tell you the truth. We're going to look at some of their historic games this season. They've played twice already, so it'll be interesting to see. Let's go look at that real quick. – 14-2 Raiders. So the first matchup, the Raiders won at home, 16-22. Wow, great game there. Both gave up about a little over 200 yards, I guess almost 300 yards for the Chargers, giving up rushing yards 70 and 61. And then turnovers. They both had 4 turnovers, so this game was a hard hit turnover game. 3 interceptions, 4 INTs from the famous Derek Carr. Wow. Let's see how many interceptions he's thrown all season. Probably not many. He's thrown 20 interceptions. So that's pretty good, but he threw 20% of those interceptions in one game against the San Diego Chargers. So they definitely know how to slow down the MVP of the UFL, Derek Carr. Let's go look at their second matchup. So the Raiders won at home there. And then we had the Chargers winning at home in the second match by 1 point, 35-34. I actually remember watching this stream. It was an amazing game. Uh, Chargers just didn't let the Raiders do anything. 26 yards, 126 yards passing, 80 yards rushing. The difference, Chargers somehow defied the UFL rule of turnovers. They gave up the ball 6 times to only 1 time and still ended up winning this game. I don't even recall that from the game. That's pretty amazing. Derek Carr threw another interception in this game, so he threw 5 of his 20 interceptions against the Chargers. So that's going to be interesting to see. 25% of his INTs came from the Chargers this season. Philip Rivers threw 5 interceptions as well, so it looks like the Raiders figured him out in this game. So 5 TD passes kind of saved his day here, but it's going to be very interesting. So both teams won at home. Raiders won by a little bit more when they were at home, and then 1 point win by the Chargers at home. This playoff game's going to be in Oakland, so I don't think there's any way I had to go against the 4-time Super Bowl champ, but if any team can beat him, it's going to be the Raiders. So I think the season MVP for Carr, he got too many XP points. I think a 99 overall quarterback is going to be the difference in this game. I think the Raiders are going to win, and I agree it's going to be by a touchdown. So 27-21, I'm not certain it's going to be that high scoring a game. I'd probably say 17-24. So that's where our playoffs are shaping out. So let's take one last look at this. We got Raiders and Chargers, Panthers and Vikings, Dolphins and Browns, Seahawks and Giants. And before we go, let's see who won in the stat category. Because, again, if you're not using Daddy Leagues, you should be using it. The one thing we didn't look at was the sports book. We can take one look at the sports book and see what it says for these guys. It's always fun to watch when you're checking the playoffs. It's even more fun because there's not as much to look at, but this is always fun to go check and see. Kind of what we went through, but a summarized version. So this thing right here is saying the Chargers are the favorite by 6 points. I think, I don't know if they'll cover the 6 points. I think I was saying they'd win by 7, so I guess if I was in Vegas, I'd be betting on the Raiders to cover. The Vikings -4 for sure. But at home field, the rushing attack is great. Panthers -4. I'd still taking the Vikings in that one. I think they'll cover. And then the Browns are giving 2 points to the Dolphins, so they think Dolphins are going to win, and I agree. I think the Dolphins are going to pull the upset here just because Johnny Manziel's a wild card. Maybe that's me being a Texas guy not liking the A&M Aggies, but overall, it's amazing Jay Schatz's what he's done with the Browns. So this game could come down the wire. Definitely going to be probably the closest of the 4 games. And then the Giants -7. I think the Giants are going to win, but I don't think I would take the points of 7. I think it's going to be a last-minute field goal that wins it for them. Be very interesting to see. And then the over-under, the 48, 51, 51, 44, you can see it's kind of saying that's how many total points it thinks going to be scored in the game. Seahawks, Giants, I think it's going to go over that. Giants, Brown, it's going to be under 51. Panthers, Vikings, I think that over 51 could be a good call. Raiders, Chargers, it's going to be right around 48. Amazing to look back and see how these games actually turned out to the Daddy League Sportsbook. And again, it's a fun tool to look at and see. And as we go further in, we'll kind of look at strength of schedules as it narrows down to the final 4, final 2 teams. So I'm going to do another show after we advance to the next round to kind of go through the teams and see who's where. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. I'm sure you've used Daddy Leagues. If you haven't, you need to get on Daddy Leagues because it definitely is a key source to scout your opponents. You could go into anything. If you want to look at the Dolphins, you can see who their leading passers are. 4,300 yards passing, 38 TDs. Doug Martin's his rusher. Lamar Miller's got a double rushing attack. You can go in and look at this thing if you want to go look at, say, the Raiders. How good are they doing? You can see everything in here. You can go even drill down to even more. 4,300 yards passing, 44 TDs. McFadden's got 700 yards rushing. Stark's got 500. And then the passing game, if everybody's seen Marcel Reese, of course, knows that's his favorite target. Crabtree has been probably what's took him over the next edge, though, because he was the second target to go to. And then James Jones isn't too bad himself. But you can go look and see where their average passing yards are, what do they like to throw, how deep do they run their routes. Just an endless tool. Before we head off, let's go look at the season stats, see who won in Daddy Leagues. So the leading passer, Matthew Stafford, QB